Let's take a breath together as we just breathe in this spirit and this energy of love this day. We're talking about love this month of February, and our theme for the month is Love is the Way. Love is the way. And that's what we've been talking about all month. And that's what we're going to let be our guiding force, not only this month, but the guiding force of our life. We have to allow it to be love. We have to allow it to be love. And the topic for today is strength to love, the strength to love, the strength to love. So let's just breathe that in, the strength to love. You know, one would not think of needing strength to love ordinarily because they seem to be mutually exclusive, needing the strength to love. It just seems that love comes naturally. But you know what? It really does not. It does not. And particularly in these times, as we go through these times of divisiveness and apparent separateness and so much going on in the world and so much going on in our lives and so much going on in our communities that sometimes love feels far away. Sometimes love feels unattainable. Sometimes love feels uh, like a pipe dream. And I've heard these kinds of things from people that I've talked to over the last couple of weeks, but particularly in this last week, this past week, I've just heard more and more discouragement and more concern and more wondering just what is it all, what's happening, what is it all about. And you know what I have to keep coming back to is that love is all there is. God is all there is. And we have to keep coming back to love, keep coming back to love. And I don't want to say keep going back to love because love is not outside ourselves. Love is right here, right where we are. Love is right here, right now, right where we are. And so we have to keep coming home to love. We have to keep remembering over and over and over again that no matter what's going on in the world, no matter how devastating things may seem at times, no matter how destructive things may appear at times, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love is always the answer. Love is the only answer. No matter how much hate there appears to be in the world, hate is of darkness. And just like light is the only thing that can overcome darkness, love is the only thing that can overcome hate. Love is the only thing that can overcome hate. It's the only thing that can overcome hate. So we have to really look at developing the strength to love because sometimes it does take strength. Sometimes it does take courage. Sometimes it does take take effort. Sometimes it does take all those things in our human selves to get to that place of digging deep to that place where there is love, where there's only love, and where we are living in love. And so I'm encouraging each of you to really take a deep breath and really turn within and really look at where you are on that spectrum right now, on that scale, on the scale of 1 to 10, let's say. If one is not experiencing any love, but not being in a place of wanting to be loving, because sometimes we don't want to be loving. Sometimes it's hard to be loving. Sometimes it's hard, depending on who we're talking with, who we're dealing with. There are times when we're dealing with disappointment. There are times when we're dealing with hatred coming toward us. There are times when we're dealing with discrimination. There are times when we're dealing with heartbreak. There are times when we're dealing with betrayal. There are times when we're dealing with all kinds of stuff that appears to be negative or whatever. And in those times we forget and we don't want to be loved. We want to get caught up in the revenge aspect or the feeling bad or the getting back at someone or whatever the case may be. And you know what we have to do? We have to just take a deep breath and step back. We have to take a deep breath and step back because hate only creates more hate. Love creates more love. Love is that only healing power. Love is that only healing power. And so we have to learn how to not only love those people we care about. In the reading, the statement was, I love the people who are dear to me. I love the people who I care about. But what about the people who are not dear to us? What about the people we don't really care about? What about the people we don't really like? And love doesn't require us to like somebody. It doesn't require us to like somebody. It requires us to just be loved, to be open in our hearts, and to be loving. It requires us, that's what love requires of us, to be loving, to love, to love. Love knows only love. Love knows only love. And only love knows love. And so I continue to talk about love this week, this month, over and over and over again, because it is the only thing that saves us. It is the only thing that saves this world. It's the only thing that helps us to move forward and to move back into that place of oneness, that place that we were created to be, because we were created and brought here to be vehicles of God's love, to be, that's our whole purpose for being here, is to love, to be givers and receivers of love. That's what we're here for. And that gets covered over when we get into our human stuff and all kinds of things start to happen and all kinds of appearances show up. We get caught up and then we forget about the important thing, the most important thing, the most powerful thing in the world is love. And so I'm inviting you today to really develop the strength to love, even when it feels hard, even when you don't even feel like it, even when you don't really want to. Despite all that, develop the strength to love. Yes, we can love those people that we care about. Yes, we can love those people who are important to us. Yes, we can love those people we like, but we have to also learn how to love those that we don't like, those who are not important to us, those who are different from us. Because, you know, as Ernest Holmes says, spirit has no enemies. Spirit has no apartness. Spirit has no differences. Spirit has no opposites. Spirit knows none of these things. Spirit knows no opposites, knows no differences. It knows no enemies. And so because we are one with spirit, because that spirit is our very life, then we have to open ourselves up so that we come to know within ourselves that there are no opposites for us. There are no differences. Yes, we are different as far as the way that we show up in the world according to our own individuality. But when it comes to the essence of who we are, the essence of who we are is love itself. The essence of who we are is God itself. The essence of who we are is that one power and that one presence and that one mind and that one life and that one love. That is the essence of who we are. And that's what we want to develop our spiritual muscle, so that we have the strength to love when it feels hard. And we do that through developing our muscle, just like we develop the strength to do physical things by our physical exercises. We have to practice. We have to have our spiritual exercises that we do, so that we have the strength to love even when it feels hard. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do today, to really let go of the disappointments that you may be experiencing, letting go of the hard times, letting go of the anger, letting go of the fear, letting go of the doubt, letting go of all that stuff, letting go of all that stuff, and start out on the road to developing the strength to love. Start out, number one, with setting your intention and then having the willingness to love. That's how it starts. Setting your intention and having the willingness to love. Setting your intention to love. You know, we have to set our intention to love sometimes. We have to set our intention so that when we have the intention, because intention drives behavior, when we have the intention to love, then when things come at us unexpectedly, then we're already in that place. We're already in that place of love. It isn't hard to get to that place of love. We're already in that place because that's the intention that we walk through our lives with. We walk through our lives with the intention to love. And we also keep an open heart so that we have the willingness, to follow our intention to love. We have the willingness to do that because God can work through our willingness. But if we set our intention and then we're not willing to follow through with that intention, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. And so the important thing for us to do is to set our intention and then be willing to love. Be willing to let go of the slights. Be willing to let go of the anger. Be willing to let go of all that. The willingness is also shown by our willingness to forgive. our willingness to forgive those things that, and those people that we think are unforgivable. You know, because as I've said many, many times before, the only thing, only we can make an act unforgivable. Because forgiveness is really for us. Forgiveness opens our hearts. Forgiveness just allows us to move through our lives and through this world freely, because it frees us up from the stuff that we would hold on to, and it frees our hearts. It frees our hearts to be places of love, places and spaces of love, places and spaces through which God can work, places and spaces through which there's that flow that we can be in, that flow that we can live in, that flow that we live and move and have our being in. And so just setting our intention to love, and then being willing to follow our intention, to being willing to let our intention drive the behavior of love, despite, as I said, the appearances, despite things that may be coming at us that don't appear to be love, just being that place of love, being that place of love, being that place of love. That is so important for us. So build your love muscle by continuing to exercise it, continuing to exercise it, continuing to exercise it, continuing to exercise it. And you know, sometimes we have to start small. We start with little things. We start with little things, like someone on the freeway, or someone on the street, or someone in the grocery store, or somebody says something to you that's untoward, or whatever the case may be. Just being willing to take an energetic step back and remember your intention to be love, your intention to be love, your intention to be loving, and then allowing your heart to open rather than closing at that time. This is how we begin. And when we start with those little things like that, we start with little things. When we set our intention, we also begin to look at the world and look at other people with softer eyes, not under the glare of judgment and the glare of blame and the glare of otherness. Begin to look at the world and look at others with softer eyes. And when we do that, we can take a breath and just recognize that we're all a part of the one, that we're all in this life together, and that no matter how dastardly the acts that others may be creating or doing at a particular time, there is still that place and space within us that is love. And we look at those things through the eyes of love, even though we don't condone them, even though we don't agree, even though there may be times we have to hold others accountable. It has nothing to do with love, has nothing to do with that kind of accountability. It's just our keeping our hearts open and our minds open for love to flow, for love to flow. And as we are open to love flowing, we're open to healing happening. And that's what it's all about, healing happening. Healing happens when we move into that place of oneness, when we move into that place of oneness with God, and then oneness with each other. Because the thing that's going on right now is that we're all feeling separate. The world is operating under a sense of separation from God, and therefore from a sense of separation with each other. And that's what we see all around us, separation. And I'm inviting you to let go of that sense of separation and move into that place of knowing the truth that there is no separation. There is no separation from God. There is no separation, can be no separation from God, because we are made of God. We are made of God. We live our lives in God, of God. And so that's what we have to keep in mind as we go through this time in our lives. And we know this truth for ourselves, and we know this truth for others. And so just keeping our hearts open. The second thing that I want you to do is to be aware, maintain your awareness of the humanity of others. Maintain your awareness of the humanity of others, because we want others to maintain their awareness of our humanity, of our humanity. And so when we maintain our awareness of the humanity of others, then we start to see them differently. We start to treat them differently. We start to open our hearts even more, even though we may not like the acts that they're performing, even though we may not like the words that we hear. But when we maintain our awareness of another's humanity, then we don't have to demonize others. We don't have to really criticize so harshly. We don't have to do all those kinds of things. We don't have to demonize. We don't have to destroy others. When we recognize that we are all a part of this human family. We are all a part of this human family. We are all made in the image and likeness and out of God itself. And we are each expressing God according to our own individuality. And as we can love, if we can love enough, then that's how we change the world. If we can love enough to change our own hearts, then we can love enough to change the world. But it has to start with each one of us, loving enough, loving, 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 being in a place of loving, making the changes that need to be made, the changes within ourselves and the changes that we want to see in the world. Yes, we can work toward making the changes, but we can do it from a place of love. It takes strength to do that. And we develop that strength by constantly doing it over and over and over again, by setting our intention and then constantly doing it over and over and over again. So I'm inviting you to maintain your awareness of the humanity of others and make sure that our minds and our tongues, the gifts of our minds and our tongues are used for blessing and uplifting and not for tearing down and destroying. Our minds and our tongues are used for blessing and not for tearing down and destroying. This is what love is all about. This is how we develop the strength to love, by making sure that the words that we speak are words that are informed by that love in our hearts, that are informed by that love in our hearts. Hafiz, the great Sufi master, says that the heart is a thousand-stringed instrument that can only be tuned with love. The heart is a thousand-stringed instrument that can only be tuned with love. The heart is a thousand-stringed instrument that can only be tuned with love. And you know what? A lot of hearts need a lot of tuning right now. And it starts with our own hearts. When we recognize that there's a string that's out of tune, tune it with love. It can only be tuned with love. And then when we do that and we operate from that place, then we can move through this life more easily, more effortlessly, more lovingly, more peacefully, more in that place of oneness. And from that place of oneness with God, from that place of walking in the love of God always, in the love of God always. And we move out of that place when we start to recognize the humanity of other people and all of our humanity, then we get out of that place where love is more suspect than hate. You know, that's where we are. Love at times is more suspect than hate. That makes no sense at all. That makes no sense at all. But when people are loving, then so other people look at them sometimes and wonder what's going on. I wonder what's that all about. Why was that person so nice? You know, that I hear all kinds of things that people, ways that people respond. And we have to really be in that place of just knowing that our hearts can be tuned with love. Ernest Holmes says all heart trouble can be healed with love. Any heart trouble, he says, can be healed with love and can only be healed with love, because our hearts are the centers of love. And so I'm inviting you to really keep your heart open and allow it to be that place and that space. Allow it to be that place and that space through which God can work and through which love can flow and through which that healing balm that is love can find a place of resonance always, always within each one of us. And so then the third thing I want you to do is to just be love. Be love. Be love. That's a tall order, just to be love. Just to be love. We've already set our intentions to love. But what about just being love? Just being love itself, just being that vibration of love itself. Being that vibration of love itself. And when we are in that place of just being love, then that's what we see, because we see what we be. And so when you can be love, then that's what you begin to see. That's what you begin to experience in your life. That's what we begin to experience in our lives. When we can be love, then we can stop the fighting. We can stop the fighting. We can let all that stuff go. And we can be in that place of peace, in that place of oneness. You know, I said stop the fighting. I was thinking of an essay from Howard Thurman's for the Inward Journey. No one ever wins a fight. Is the name of it. No one ever wins a fight. And in it, in that essay, he's talking about when he was a kid and coming home, I guess I'm saying from school, but coming home and meeting up with a boy that he had been having trouble with for a long, long time. And the boy was bigger than he and had four brothers. And they had this fight. And Thurman got into this fight with him and really got him down on the ground. And as he said, made him eat dirt. And once he finished up, he beat him up, and then he went home. When he went home, his eye was swollen. His pants had a hole in the knee, and his buttons were ripped off his jacket. And when he got home, his grandmother took one look at him and said, "No one ever wins a fight." And he said, "Yeah, but I beat him." And she said, "Yeah, but you beat him, but look at you. No one ever wins a fight." And he said, he had to really remember that throughout his life. No one ever wins a fight. So what was she saying? That he should not fight? What was he saying? What was he supposed to do? And then he began to realize that it's the weapons that we choose. And he said that one of the weapons that we can choose is not to fight. One of the weapons that we can choose is not to fight, because no one ever wins a fight. Because no one ever wins a fight. But he also said that as he lived his life, he began to realize that the weapon that is the most deadly and the most devastating is love. That love is the most deadly and the most devastating weapon of all. And so he says that love, that I want to get this right. He said, few there be who dare to trust their fate to it. Few there be who dare to trust their fate to love. Few, few of us. Few there be who dare to trust their fate to love. Yet love is the most powerful. It is the most deadly. It is the most devastating weapon of all. And so I'm encouraging us all to use that powerful weapon, to use that powerful weapon of love. Give up the fight, because no one ever wins a fight, because we all get beat up when we fight. We all get hurt when we fight. But when we love, we all get loved. And when we decide to be loved, that's the most devastating thing we can do to someone else, is to just be love. Just be love. Just turn that light of love into the darkness that may be facing you. Allow that light of love to shine into the darkness that may be facing you right now. It takes strength to do that. It takes strength to do that. But you know what? We develop our strength. We develop our love muscle by loving. We develop our strength by practicing. We develop our strength by doing it over and over and over again. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do today. I'm encouraging you to be love. Be the love that you want to see. Develop that strength to love so that you can be love and be more and more of that love, and be more and more in that place of power that is love itself. That's all we need to do, is to be love. And when we are being love, we are at one with the all that is, because the all that is love. The all that is love. And when we set our intention to be love, and when we be love, then that thousand-stringed instrument is in tune. That thousand-stringed instrument that is our hearts is in tune. And so I invite you today to develop the strength to love. Develop the strength to love. Don't be dissuaded by the fact that it may be hard. Don't be dissuaded by the fact that it's not something you really want to do. Don't be dissuaded by the fact that nobody else seems to be doing. Don't be dissuaded by anything. Don't be dissuaded by anything. Just be love. Just be love. Yes, it takes strength. Yes, it takes courage. And you have all of that because God is all of these things. And we are at one with the all that is. We are at one with strength. We are at one with love. We are at one with courage. And so let's just take it into our hearts this day to be love. Let's take a breath and turn within. Just breathing in love. Just knowing that there's but one power, one presence, one love. There's but one, one love. That one is my very life. That one is the life of each of us here this day. That one is that within which I live and move and have my being, and it lives and moves and has its being in me and in each one of us. And so as we open our hearts this day, we let go of all those things that would block that one love, all those things that would hinder or encumber in any way that one love. We just open our hearts to love and allow the love to flow. And I speak a word of love for each one of us this day. Speak a word of love for each one of us this day, knowing that we are filled with the love of God, the only love that is, the love of God, that we are each the love of God. And as we move into this oneness, as we move into this knowingness, I'm just knowing for each one of us that healing is taking place on every level of our being. Healing is taking place in every aspect of our lives. Healing is taking place in our bodies of affairs, our body temples. Healing is taking place in our relationships. Healing is taking place in our financial affairs. Healing is taking place everywhere and in every aspect of our lives. Because love is that healing presence, that healing balm that heals each and every one of us. And so I'm just knowing that all needs are met, no matter what those needs may be. I'm knowing that every organ, cell, tissue, function of our body temples are healed by that healing presence, that loving presence of God. That loving presence of God is healing all things, healing our broken hearts, healing those hearts that have lost loved ones from COVID or otherwise. Healing is happening everywhere. Healing is happening everywhere. Healing our relationships, healing our world, healing our planet. This word of healing goes out everywhere, to everyone and to everything. For I know that God is in the midst of everything and everyone and every situation and every circumstance. And that all indeed is well. All indeed is well. All indeed is well. And so I just pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or aloud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names are spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each one is, blessing and keeping them. Blessing and keeping them. This word goes out to our government officials, knowing that they are each made in the image and likeness and out of God itself, and that God guides and directs every action, every decision, and that everything unfolds that is for the highest and best for everyone, for all concerned. This word goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, just knowing that right where each person is, God is. In the midst of everything going on, God is. This is the truth that I know. And wherever God is, wholeness is. And healing is happening. Healing is happening everywhere. And so I simply say thank you, Father, Mother God, for the word spoken here this day. Thank you for the perfect manifestation of that word spoken here this day. Thank you, infinite presence, for everything. Thank you for love. Thank you, divine love. I know indeed that all is well, for I know indeed that all is love. And so it is.